Hello, friends! Alright, so I have a lot of people asking questions. They say, Jake, why is there no breathing room when my painting is right up to the frame? What is happening? Why can't I breathe? And I say, it's because you don't have a mat in there. Sometimes you don't need a mat. Sometimes it calls for a little space, a little buffer. So all you gotta do is put a little something between your work and the frame, and nobody's gonna suffocate. There's not gonna be any choking, shortness of breath. And sometimes, a lot of times, people will just use some sort of cardstock, a paper, and just put a little bland thing. But I've been flirting with the idea of using textile margins of sorts. So get you some fabric, some knives, some cutting utensils. Let's get slicing. Holy cow, lots of slicing and dicing in the cutting department nowadays. Alright, so a lot of people might have crazy algorithms and such, but I kind of play it by ear. Every piece is unique. Alright, so take your width and your height and cut off about a quarter on each side, quarter inch. Just gonna give us a little bit of room for mounting that onto our mat later on. So our window is cut out. Bing! Look at that marvelous view through that window. Alright, so as for the size of the mat itself, a lot of people play differently. Some people like giant fields to frolic in, and some like little tiny valleys to hide. It just depends piece by piece. Me, I like to use a little rule where I take the shortest end and I use around a third of it, and that'll be the size of the margin. So this 4 inches will be a little over 1 1/4. So one rule I will apply here is padding. So every single side will be equal except the bottom, and it's gonna be just a tad bit bigger than the rest, just to kind of give it a little cushion for the piece to sit on. Ta-da! Alright, so we have our window cut out as well as our exterior walls. So we're going to take a soft pencil here, you can also use a marker, and just trace around those outsides with a little extra room to wrap it around and glue it. Alright, and on the inside, you just want to do the same rule and then make a little line coming out from each corner so that it'll be able to wrap around and fit in there nicely. Now that we have everything cut out, we are going to stack our paper on top of our cloth here, and then we're gonna actually use some double-sided tape today. You can glue, but it gets kind of hard to sit here and just like wait with your hands like this forever. Plus your fingers start to stick to the paper. Alright, so we're just gonna start taping. Alright, Then you want to line up your corners to the inside of your corner cuts. Then start folding. So now we're gonna cut out a little backing for this bad boy. Something to rest on, rest his feet. So we're gonna measure enough room to hit about the middle of our whole mat together. Take our painting, a couple strips of double-sided tape on there, attach. Now you'll see we have a little extra room around the edge. That's where we bring in our friend Mr. Glue. If Mr. Glue doesn't want to be all cloggy today, you might have to ask a parent for parental permission to help you uncork your glue. There we go. And we're talking. Push that down, let it dry for maybe an hour or so and make sure it's fully dry. And then you're rocking. And that, my friends, is how you make a little bit of breathing room with a textile mat. As a matter of fact, you might just grow up and become a matador. No, but for real though, these paintings, they're gonna be Olympic swimmers with all the breathing capabilities that they have. Marco Polo, they're gonna dominate. Bagpipes, oh yeah. Lungs of steel. Woodwind instruments, everything, they're gonna be perfect. Anyway, go out there into the world, make some cool things, and then make some other cool things to complement those cool things and make an even cooler thing. See you guys.